Join us this summer for the epic fantasy series Forbidden, coming to Kickstarter. What's up, George? Who do we have on today?
Today we have our very good friend and fellow podcaster, Mr. Tone from across the hall. I'm not going to give you his government name, but that is who he is. And then we're going to be talking about critics. Critics, and are they a necessary evil? Are they evil?
Those neighbors across the hall, man. I'm just saying. Let's get it!
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your meds, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George Medina, the dreamer. Never mind. Forget it. I'm not going to do it. I told you, I'm not doing it.
It's that Tourette's just be acting up. It's like, just sing it! Same shit.
Yo.
What up,
going
Georgie?
on, Sam?
What's up, Georgie? See the stickers?
I'm chilling. Oh, that's beautiful. That's
right?
beautiful. Save that for a little in the news, man. Save that. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Catch the Craze. It is June. Sometime in June. I meant to look at the at our showrunner here, but it is June 18th, and we have Mr. Tone from across the hall. I'm not going to give you his government name, even though that's how he signed up. We'll ask him about that. But yeah,
I'll give you his government name. It's going across my screen right now.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Antonio D. Perez.
He's a third of Nerds of the Round on our Nerds of the Round series.
Nerds.
He is the third member. And we're going to be talking to him today.
Trace.
We're also going to be talking about, critics on our Get Your Meds and our, what's the other, shameless plug. Shameless plug. Yo,
Shameless
brain fart, kid.
Shameless plug, yes.
So we're gonna have that on today. We also have in the news, but before we get there, what's going on with you, brother? What's going on? How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling tired. Estoy el tirado. Yeah, I'm just hold on a second. I'm getting outside on studio mode. I forgot to add the topic of the day in the system. But you see the magic of just going to studio. You don't even know what I'm doing behind the scenes. Herb,
what did you want?
I'm working too hard, Herb.
Herb is money, bro.
Yeah, I know that. Damn, I'll fire him again. Well,
you hire him, you fire him, you hire him.
Good help is hard to find. Don't you backtalk me.
Well, let me know when you have all that set up, because I'm really interested in knowing what's in the news today.
Me too.
That'd be good to know. I mean, it's June 18th. It's June 18th. So why don't we go to in the news and figure it out as we're there?
Let's figure it out. Oh, that's not indie news. In other news, Sam the Crazy Man Vera has lost his mind.
Oh, man, we are on fire right now. Holy cow. Oof. Anyway, so
the news is, it is what, June 18th?
June 18th. So I think
we are a few days away from the launch of Forbidden.
That is correct.
Forbidden on Kickstarter. We left Indiegogo. We were like, we out, yo. And we gotta go, yo. And so here's a sticker from the Indiegogo campaign of Deseret and Shaku.
There it is.
Yes. And it is. So we're getting ready to launch Forbidden on Indiegogo. I'm excited. On Kickstarter. On Kickstarter. My bad.
But we also can't forget that on Kickstarter right now we have the Crazies. Yeah. So the Crazies are going on right now, right? Wouldn't they be?
No. We've ended.
We've ended. And we did it.
Sipping on some scissor.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, it's the future.
The magic
I'm in the
dragon.
past. And when you talk about the present, it's all lost. You know what I'm saying? It's all lost.
Yeah, it's a good stuff. You know what? Yeah. Instead of getting a COVID test, we need to start getting a different kind of test.
I need a vaccine, man.
Yeah, do you? I ain't touching none of it. Touching none of it. You know what I've been drinking every day?
Okay. What have you been drinking?
I've been drinking aloe vera, with turmeric and ginger.
Okay, so you're enhancing the immune system.
And I have cinnamon in my coffee every day.
Okay.
I take my vitamin D, my vitamin E, C, and my multivitamin pill. So I take an extra doses of vitamin D, E, and C just in case you're trying to catch me.
So and you got all of the alphabet soup.
Yes, because this thing is a sleeper cell, and I'm a little nervous about this this stuff. So I'm gonna wait a minute, and when you start glowing in the dark, and you wake up and your ear is now on your nose, and your nose is now on your feet. I'm just saying.
That's gonna be dope.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I read a book about it.
Hell no, hell to the no.
You can't be scared.
Look at what happened with Johnson and Johnson.
Scared,
I'm just saying all those.
I know. Well, 6. I mean, 6 of them.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people are getting sick from it, and I don't know. I'm just gonna keep on building up my immune system, keep working out, having my tea. So you have tea twice a day.
Okay.
I'm gonna just keep taking care of me. You do you. I do me. I wear my mask when I'm around you. We live in peace. I'm good.
Nah. That's the whole thing. Like the whole I mean, I'm probably still gonna wear my mask regardless. I don't. I just think it's a thing now. But I like the whole 6 feet apart. I still like that. I don't want to beat people on top of me. So regardless.
I'm a hugger.
I don't like that.
So what? I'm a hugger. I'm like, yo, what's up? What's up, yo?
If I know you, let's hug. If I know you, let's hug. But when I'm standing online at a supermarket. And
I don't want you on my neck.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about people I know. Why would I want people I know 6 feet apart? I'm talking about the people I don't know who just seem to think that standing right behind me is the place to be.
What's up, partner? Who you is?
Back up, partner.
Who you is?
In your pocket, partner.
Yes, all up in my grill. I know. I get it. I hate it, especially at the supermarkets because they want to run up on you, and it's almost like they want to pressure you to move faster. I can only move as faster as the clerk that's ringing me up. I'm like, yo, stop acting up.
So I do like the 6 feet apart when we're in lines. I love that. I love that space. So I do like that. It's the other stuff that I hate. Like you said, like not being able to get together with friends, not being able to go out.
Well, I've always been a little apprehensive about being online, even if it was like when we used to go to Great Adventures. I would always be online, but at a side stance because people get too close. So I would always be like in a side position where they got my left shoulder, and I'm standing there, because I don't like people right up on me. And I'm like, nah, you gotta, I'm gonna make this space, and it's just, nah. Watch out.
I feel you down.
What are you doing? What are you doing? But so he's like, you got to catch the crazies. But now you're like, catch the crazies still going on.
Yeah, it's still going on in June. Yeah, right. We extended it. Psych.
I know, right? Hopefully you made it. We'd love to say it.
I think we did. But show me them stickers again, because I ain't get a good look at those.
Yeah, it's nice. I actually did it right this time, because last time Bonkers was a little too small. I think Bonkers was like down to here. And so this is nice. It's a really, look at the size of this thing.
Yeah.
So
that's a nice size.
Yeah.
Put them on your computers, put them on wherever you want to put them on your laptop.
Ezra and Shaku. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Mix'em. I still haven't received my sketchbooks, and I sent it out 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Normally I get my stuff turned around in 5 days. Now so I just emailed them today. I was like, well, this is the past, but I emailed, where's the stuff?
It's the past.
Where's the stuff?
Yeah, because by now people would have gotten their books way in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. Tell us what you think about Forbidden.
I think it's beautiful.
Make sure you start following the launch page that is coming out within the next few weeks. And
the launch page is up.
The news.
Hit the link below the launch page. Hit the link.
Yeah, the launch page.
Follow the launch page.
It's on there. It's already there. Follow that bad boy. Follow it now.
Usually
Stop
it's
watching the
me.
video.
It's me that screws up the time elements.
Continuum?
Yeah, the continuum. And George is all over the place
The
today.
timeline continuum.
Yes.
I know, I'm all over the place today.
Yeah, what's up
You know
with
what
that?
it is? This is what it is. I'm not prepared today. I'll be honest with you.
I was
not
shredding.
prepared.
I was preparing mail all day.
Yeah. See,
I took the car in.
I'm not prepared.
I took
That's
my
right.
truck in to get serviced or repaired after I got hit. And
Second time.
people, second time in 6 months, bro. What's up with that?
Man, what is up with that?
Yo, it's like I have a target on me. Like they're going after the crazy man.
Is it the same repair shop you went to last time?
Yeah. They're good. They're good peeps. They hook
Good
me up.
peeps.
And, you go there. They give you coffee. They treat you like royalty. The
Shit,
guy comes, picks you up, drives you to the rental car. You get in your car. Boom. They match it. They try to match it. So if you had a sedan, they try to give you a sedan. If you have an SUV, they give you an SUV. Pretty dope.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. So, but yeah, hopefully you stop getting into fender benders.
I didn't get into a fender bender. I was at a red light.
That's true. That's not a fender bender because your whole back got smashed. So it
My
wasn't
whole
the
back,
fender.
yes.
It was the freaking.
I got kicked in the
bumper
ass.
Yeah, you got rear-ended.
I'm sitting there, and it's funny. I'm meeting my friends. It's the first time I'm actually going further than my grocery store.
Don't
and
leave your house.
So I leave. I'm going 2 towns over to meet my friends in Elizabeth for lunch. And I just get off the highway, and it's a turn. And so I get off the turnpike, and you get on this exit, and it's a turn, and then you immediately get hit by a light, right? So there's 6 cars in front of me at the light. I'm number 7. So I'm like, all right, I'm chilling. I look, the light's about to turn, so I'm getting ready. But I don't move until the guy in front of me moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, boom! I'm like, what the And I get out the car, and I'm like, yo! And the woman's like, I thought you moved. I said, you were doing like 60, 70 miles an hour, because her car is totaled. And, her whole front is caved in. And mine, she just, knocked off the reflector blade, popped out the side thing over my wheel, and scratched the paint. I was like, moved? How can I move if we're at a red light and I got 6 cars in front of me? I said, who speed? I mean, her husband was pissed, but
Her husband was pissed.
that's like twice. That's both my cars. So I have 3 claims out in 6 months. One for the roof. The windstorm blew all my shingles off my roof. And the Mercedes, when the guy came and slammed right into my side door, bam! He came went across multiple lanes to just ram. I tell you, they're after me. They're after the craze.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, CON.
CON.
This is why I need medicine. So I think I'm gonna go and get more meds.
Let's do it.
It's time for your medicine.
Critics, a necessary evil.
Are they though? Are they necessary? And
Are
are
they?
they evil?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Tell
I don't
me.
know. What's your viewpoint on critics, Sam? What do you think? Do we need them? Are they necessary? Are they really necessary?
See, it's a double-edged sword,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's based on taste, right? So, one person might love it and another person might not. So it's a matter of taste. So I think if you base everything on somebody else's critique of your work, it could be painful or it could be a false positive, right? And I think what you want is a consensus. You want some sort of, and I'm using metrics in the terms, you want to get at least a handful of critics and find a happy medium. Then you'll understand whether or not you have your product has potential. You know what I mean? But I think if you go with one, and just because it's a mainstream, whether it's a Newsarama or Broken Frontier, and they trash it, doesn't mean your stuff is garbage. It just means that person didn't like it. That's one person, right? But then you get somebody else on another big, and they love it. So now you're at odds. All right, I got one good review and I got one bad review.
Yeah.
Then you get another person, and they're somewhere in the middle. Okay, so somewhere along the lines, you have to find out, is there anything that's common with the feedback that each three have given? So that's the way I look at it. I try to create a collective of data, collect all the data, and say, all right, what is it that they're all saying? What, are they saying that the writing is better than the art, or the art is better than the writing? Are they saying that the pacing's off? Try to find a link and then work on that for your consecutive follow-up if it wasn't already done. But if you're gonna put all your money in one basket over one man's opinion, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, no, I guess the question that I'm wondering is, do we need them? Right? Like, do we need critics for your work?
I think when you're an unknown, you want that. You want somebody with name recognition to be able to co-sign you, right? Because
if they don't co-sign you, what if they tear you down?
Then you don't then you don't post it. So you know what I mean? But
find it, bro. It's even easier to find now. It's a quick Google search.
I think your goal is when you're unknown to get somebody in the mainstream to be able to co-sign and say, I like this stuff. Look out for this. When you have, I think your biggest metric is the people who read your stuff, who pick your stuff up. That's the most important critic that should be. So, for instance, I think critics back in the days when you didn't have crowdfunding was definitely necessary for the unknown artist or creator that's trying to get out there. Because it was another medium to be able to do it, because you weren't getting co-signed by the bigger news outlets in comic books. Most of them don't exist today, right? But now, with crowdfunding, your critic is the person that's actually sponsoring you. That's why I look at it. When we're funding you, they're sponsoring it. And I think that's where you have to, that's the audience you want to please. So I think it's all a matter of timing, in the era that you're in. Yes, back in the days, I felt the critics was a great, great opportunity. If you're writing a novel, you want to have a New York Times or, the Post, somebody to, give you a good review. Or put your weight onto like Goodreads.com. Somebody, a critic from Goodreads.com, that's going to co-sign you and say, you know what, this is a good book. It all depends. It all depends really on name recognition. If you're unknown, you need some way to get to the spotlight, and sometimes the only way to do it is through the critic. And sometimes a bad review is a good review. It's how you spin it.
Yeah, and I think whether you want to debate whether they're necessary or not, you can. I think you do want them. I think that there is something to say about what a critic will say about your book, because the only bad publicity is no publicity, right? So if I'll give you an example of that. I was watching, I don't know if you watch like not Hot 97, it's 105.1, the Breakfast Club with
Breakfast Club.
Charlamagne
the God.
Yes. Yeah. So Charlamagne
the
the God
DJ
has
Envy.
a segment. Yeah. He has a segment called Donkey of the Day.
Yes.
And in Donkey of the Day, he actually had his Donkey of the Day was a journalist from a newspaper who had posted a story about DMX. And when he passed, and he was talking, and she was talking about all of the failures he had in his life.
Right.
How he failed. Rather than saying, this was a great artist, she was saying he was a troubled person who had foreclosures and these many homes, blah, 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 right? Now, the point in him saying that was to kind of just bash her a little bit and say, hey, this is a donkey of the day. But in a sense, because he gave her name and the newspaper she wrote for, he gave her publicity.
Yes.
Right? He gave her publicity, because now whether you agree with that, with her, what she said or not, or what she wrote or not, you want to now read the article.
Yep.
So that is a perfect example of bad publicity is good publicity, because now sometimes people want to say, all right, you think it's bad, but I want to know for myself. Let me see if this thing is really that bad.
Rotten Tomatoes is a perfect example. How many times Rotten Tomatoes gets a sneak peek of a film that's coming out and they trash it, but then the audience goes and they love it.
Right.
You know, so
you always have that rating, right? You have
yes,
the critics, and then you have the
which is
the
why
people.
the audience, your sponsor, is the most important critic, in my opinion. It's that person who is putting out the money to buy your book. The critic who gets it for free and they review it. While I appreciate the time they took to read it and write about it, I'm not going to end my career on every word that they say, or build myself up because they liked it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to say, all right, great, and I'm going to keep working to make my product better, good or bad. You know what I mean? But the person I'm doing it for is for me, and the person that's actually sponsoring me. You know, the one that's going out there. So I think that's where, again, it's a matter of taste.
Yeah, and I think depending on the kind of person you are, right? Depending on the kind, you know, how thick your skin is, because like you said earlier, you know, it depends. A critic can drive you to be better because the review was so bad, or totally kill you and annihilate you and make you stop doing what you're doing because you believe that credit the critic so much that you say, I'm stopping. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not good enough. When it's just one person's opinion of your work. Now, can that influence other people towards you, whether they buy or not? Yeah. You know what? But at that point, their opinion doesn't matter at that point, right? What matters is, like you said, is what the audience now is going to say based on whether it's based on what he wrote or not, because that can drive people to say, yo, let me see, this thing is really that bad? Let me check it out. Or, you know, I don't agree with him. It's not bad at all. It's good. So that's what you want. So I think the critic is necessary in a sense because he's going to give you publicity, whether it's good or bad. It's going to be publicity.
Yeah, you want it.
And I think you need it. I still think you definitely need it.
Yeah, I think you need it. But I think when you're an established name, it really doesn't matter anymore. I think it's when you're aspiring and you're growing, you need it. You need people to talk.
Too, though, Sam. I think they need it too. Otherwise, why would they send it to them? Why would they even send anything to them? They're not sending it.
Their publicists, their publicists are doing it.
But what I'm saying is they're getting it. So even if you have a name, you still want that critics, whether it's a good review or a bad review, they don't. You know, obviously everybody wants a good review. But I think that they still need that to get the publicity, to get the you know the people talking. You know what I mean?
No, anything that's gonna get people talking is a good thing. But the way I draw the line is when the critic makes recommendations like, you know, I think it should just be on the context of the product. But when they start saying, well, maybe you're not in the right business, or, you know, I wouldn't work, you know what I'm saying? When they start crossing that line, that's when I'm like, that's not a critic. That's just a person who is abusing the platform that they have and doing the service to the industry. You know, I think if you just that's what those are people who have hang-ups or resents the fact that they didn't do it, or, you know, they want to take it out.
They don't like that person.
Yeah, or they just don't like you. And so I think that's where you have to really. A good critic is someone who's able to provide the whys behind the failings, right? In their opinion. Here's why I think this book is a C book. The plot line confused me. The dialogue confused me. At one point you said this, but then this happened. It didn't link up. You know what I mean? Being able to provide that. So this way the aspiring creator or the creator can say, oh, I didn't even see that. You know, that's a good point. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But if you can't provide that and you just say, I just don't like it, it's not a good book. You're not a critic. You're just a person using on a platform that you're in the wrong position. They just probably needed a filler and you volunteered for it. So I think that's just, so you have to really, the ones that I respect are the ones who are really able to articulate the whys. The ones that I don't really give a damn, you can say whatever you want. You can say it's a piece of crap, but you can't provide me the whys or whatever, then I don't want to hear from you. You know, and so I think that's the biggest thing. So for anybody watching, you know, address it with a grain of salt. Don't put too much weight on it. But with that said, I see our guest is in the waiting room.
Tone, yeah. So definitely, you know, just make sure that you that you have the skin thick enough. If you're sending out that book, be ready for whatever comes your way. Otherwise, don't send it out. If you're not ready for backlash, then don't do it. Don't just be waiting for the good stuff. Be ready for that bad stuff too.
Yes, you definitely gotta be ready for the bad stuff. Don't because it's gonna come. Hold on one second, because there's Antonio Perez. Okay, move you over here. And hi, Jude. So we're gonna go to commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna bring in Antonio. Welcome to the Craze in 10 or Less. Welcome to the Craze in 10 or Less. The show where I give it to you in 10 minutes or under, and if I don't, 10 minutes or under, and if I don't. All right, welcome to the Craze in 10 or Less. It's the show where I give it to you in 10 minutes or under, and if I don't, and if I don't, I won't. There he is, the man with the plan.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? Oh, he saw you in the hall, so we just said, "Yeah, come on, across the way."
All right, yeah, thank you.
He said, "Yeah, thank you."
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. We have Tone from across the hall here on Catch the Craze, 1/3 of the podcast, Nerds of the Round.
Indeed,
dude. Excellent, man. I'm loving what you guys are doing with the show. You guys are killing it, doing those reviews of the movies or the shows that are coming out on Disney Plus. That's working. What do you guys have? Well, just before you know, this will air in June. So it's June 18th. Okay.
June 18th. Okay. So
well, I think Loki will be out by then, right? I think.
Yes. I believe the first episode of Loki, because I think Loki comes out June 12th. I think so. Yeah, don't quote me on that. But it will be out, and we will continue on with our Tuesday recaps of the show. We are definitely looking forward to Loki and what they're going to be doing for the MCU and using the actors and bringing in Owen Wilson into the MCU, which is I did not expect him to be in there.
I didn't even know, really. Owen Wilson. I haven't seen Owen Wilson in years.
Exactly. Wow. Used to seeing him with Stiller or with Vince Vaughn, but
with Vince Vaughn, right?
He's making his transition over to the MCU, and I think he'll be definitely like the number 2 supporting person in that series. So we're really excited to see how he plays off with Tom Hiddleston, which we're all excited for.
Oh, hell yeah. And yesterday we had a great time on your show. That was fun.
Yes. Well, couple months ago now when this was live.
Yesterday, a couple months ago.
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. Yeah, no, right?
Exactly.
That was good. Anyway, all right. So let's get down to it, Tone. So
who you is?
Mike, though. I feel like I'm on an MC with your fucking mic going on over here.
I'm like, yo, battle ready?
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about Tone, right? Tone from across the hall. So tell us how you got into this. Well, before we even tell you how you got into it, tell us about yourself prior to this whole, podcasting.
So prior to doing Nerds of the Round, prior to probably meeting Sebastian and Law, I've always been into like all this stuff, comics and pop culture, video games, anime. It's kind of just been around me my entire life, right? Like I grew up playing on Super Nintendo, PlayStation. My dad was all into that, so all of that came from him. I was watching anime when I was young, like watching DBZ before it came to the States. So I was watching that, reading that in the subtitles because my dad had a guy in Manhattan with all the VHSs.
He knew a guy.
He definitely knew a guy. He knew a guy with VHSs. He knew a guy in Chinatown that would put the chips in the system so you could play the Japanese games. Yeah. So all that stuff, and he also collects a lot. He also collected a lot of comic books. So like I knew about it. I wasn't reading comics back then. I really got into. I would say the first comic book I read was Watchmen. It was the first one I read because I was really interested. It was right after 300 came out, and I was really big with Zack Snyder because I really liked what he did. And what adolescent young man growing up did not fucking love 300, right? That was just testosterone for 2.5 hours. So I read that, but and then I saw you got Watchmen, so I decided to pick up Watchmen and kind of just reading comics kind of started from there. That's a really big comic to kind of start your comic reading.
Dude, that's like a deep comic to start your stuff in, right?
But really the passion for me is just I was always big into video games. That was like one of my things I was really big into that's just kind of transitioned and been doing that now. I was always wanting to do something in the video game industry. Hasn't happened yet, but one of the things I was doing, I wrote for a friend of mine's website. We went to the same high school and he had a website and I kind of got involved with that. So I wrote a couple articles for them. It was pretty good. It was like, it was free, just kind of doing it in my free time. It was before my son was born. So was doing that a lot. I went to PAX for free, off of like going as media. I went to New York Comic-Con as media, got some headphones, got some games to review for free. It was really cool. It was a really cool experience. So it really got me, I thought I was going to kind of do that. And then, when your kid's born, like shit changes and you got to focus on stuff that's going to make you money. So that kind of stopped and everything. And then kind of just kept it trucking, just doing my own thing, working and hobbies and going to school and stuff. And then, I met Sebastian in our old apartment complex, and he got me involved in like a guest host for Nerds of the Round when it was on Geeks Unlimited. And then we did a couple shows with him as a guest. And then when he wanted to shift over from Geeks Unlimited to Nerds Around its own thing, we had a conversation in the McDonald's in Chinatown. When you take the 6 train to Chinatown and there's that McDonald's, that like 2-story McDonald's.
Yes.
Yeah, we were in there, and I told him like, "Oh, dude, if you want to do this, I'm here for you. So let's do it." And then we did a couple episodes, just me and him. Law was on all the time as like our reoccurring guest, and they just got to a point where it's like, "Dude, let's just have you on."
It's funny because we asked there's in this case there's 4 sides to every story, right? There's yours, there's Sebastian's, there's Law, and then there's the truth. So we've been getting everybody's version of this story, which we're gonna get to in a little bit. But you said something really cool before about your video game love for video games. Now, the love for video games, was it to create video games, right? Like kind of like the scripting of video games, or was it to actually create the video game itself for the players? What was your love for the video game industry?
So I'm not a programmer, and that's something that I tried to learn it later on in life, and it just kind of wasn't a thing for me. Just I guess learning language. I can't even speak Spanish. It's really bad. I'm a fake Puerto Rican and Dominican. I can eat the food and I can order everything in Spanish, but when it comes to conversation,
it's over.
Nah, fam. It's over. Just tell me where the food is. I know how to.
Hola.
Hola. Perni, gandules, arroz. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Tostones. Café con leche. Like all that stuff.
All that good stuff.
But no, so I wanted to, and now as I've gotten older in my profession and all my stuff, I really just kind of want to be a part. I like the marketing of it and going to the conferences and the conventions and like talking and being on stage and all that other like bravado type of shit, right? Like when you go to E3 and you see those people just talking on the stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people, like that's what I want to do. I want to be there. I want to be like interviewed. I want to just talk about the passion of it, because I it's just it's what I want. That's kind of what I'm trying to eventually get to in my professional career. It's hard because just going through going ups and downs and trying to find your way as you try to go up in your career. But that's definitely something I've always been interested in, like the business side of stuff. And I think that this is a good platform for you to get that, I guess, experience of talking on a mic, talking about certain specific, topics and your viewpoints on those topics. And I think you guys are doing a great job at that. But all right, so you're doing this, you got into, you kind of just fell into this whole thing when you met Sebastian. And so we asked Sebastian, how did you guys start the show? We asked Law, how did you guys start the show? How did it start? I want to ask you, how did the Nerds of the Round come to be? So it was Seabass's baby. It's his brainchild, because he started it from Geeks Unlimited, and like he always talks about like the one video in like the basement, which is like shitty lighting and all this stuff. I wasn't even involved in that operation. That was way before. I think Mayhem Mike was there and all this. So the name stuck. That was kind of his baby. And then I just know he wanted to build the brand out himself and have it like its own thing, as opposed to being like a subsidiary of Geeks Unlimited, because Geeks Unlimited, they have like a bunch of different things. Because you all know, he's really good friends with everyone involved, but he really just wanted to work with them and have them on and all that other fun stuff, but just kind of have Nerds Around be its thing. So that's kind of where it was. I would say the show was just originally when we had people coming over, like to his apartment, essentially. It was just us like chatting with them, like random nerdy shit or just talking about things that we were really interested in. We kind of fell into the creator interview thing. I would say the first major one we did was from a friend of mine, two friends of mine who wrote a comic called Legends of Atara. They did like their first volume. It's on Comixology, and we had them come over, and it was kind of our first creative interview process to kind of get people to talk, and we kind of liked that. We liked that flow. We also like talking random nerdy shit too. That's always fun. But it was good in person because we'd do like a 2-for-1. Person would come over, interview them for their piece, get to know them, and then we'd be like, all right, cool. They would stay for like hours on end. We would record a second episode, and now we would just talk about stuff that they were into.
Right.
And we did that for a good while. Then the pandemic hit, and then we had to just shift entirely.
Yeah.
You know, so we did like a Skype session. So we did a Skype session with you, George, which unfortunately that audio was trash and
never worked.
We don't know. And whatever you said is now in the nexus of whatever. So we did Skype like twice and realized that was a bust. And then we eventually got Zoom, which, you know, which has worked tremendously. I mean, you know, they took advantage of the pandemic. So kudos to them. Right. Yeah. And we fell into interviewing a lot of people. We just kept interviewing, like all of our episodes for a good while were just interview. And I like interviewing folks and I like talking and I like reading new things, but one of the things we wanted to get back to was at the core of it was just nerds around the table, just talking about talking stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was hard to do because at the time, Jesse's always editing our stuff, Sebastian's wife. Yeah. And when she would edit an interview, it's usually pretty good because interviews have a pretty solid cadence, right? There's no one's going all over the place. So it's pretty easy to kind of edit and kind of fix things up. But when you start talking random shit.
Yeah. Did you drive her crazy? Did that drive her insane?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. There's nothing worse because some of the stuff we would talk about, she did not give a shit about. And you have her listening to this over and over and over and making it sound fucking perfect. Ooh. And she's got to cut it. And so we were in this rock and a hard place of like, I was always about, I want to talk about like things that are coming out today, now, because we would do a review episode of a movie or something, but then it would have to get edited and then it would come out a week or so after like the big thing. And when you're not super established or people are waiting for your content, you're going to miss the wave of talking about that content unless you purposely do it like a recap or a reminisce or something. Right. Sure. So that eventually evolved into the live shows we do on Tuesdays. And the first set of ones we did were, I think, Mandalorians. We kind of really started going in on the live shows. So it kind of gives us what we want to talk nerdy about anything, pretty much what we're watching. The one thing we're watching that everyone's kind of watching, being a part of that whole thing, keeping it very in line with the media. And then we also bring on people who we haven't spoken to before. Yeah. So there are people who will be future guests of the creator series sometimes show up and do the review with us. So we kind of have that back and forth rapport with them, and then we bring them back for a creator series. So we like it's so it kind of works out. It works out really well, and we've done that because it kind of helps people get on the show, and then they were like, oh yeah, I had a really good time. All right, let's get you on for a creator series. Sure. But it lets us have that show on every Tuesday. It goes directly to YouTube, no worrying about editing. So we have consistent content every week. Sure. And then when we do the creator series, which happen to be every Wednesdays or every other Wednesday, however CBAS schedules them, those are then recorded on Zoom. Jesse edits them. Those are released on Fridays. Right. So those can be stagnant and spaced out because we're always going live on Tuesday. Yeah. So I think that's
that's great, dude. The only thing you didn't mention in your story fits with everything we've heard so far.
I hope so.
Good job. The only thing you missed was the fact that Law just kind of came in. He just kind of came one day and just stayed there. Yeah, which you said that earlier. Yeah. Law was that. But and when you talk about the editing, Sam will tell you, Sam hates the editing process, right, Sam? Like, it's not fun. So what we do is normally, I know you guys usually have us in the green room. We kind of talk it out a little. We kind of just throw you into the show right now because there is no editing to be done now. Like now we've recorded, like before you came on, we recorded our thing. We had our Get Your Meds, section of it. We talked it out, and then you just come in cold and we just start talking to you. So that's the way we do it. It kind of works because the thing with editing is that you're right, because we're independent and because we don't have a big studio and we don't have people working, around the clock. There's no, it's hard to kind of put that content out every week and still do what you're doing. But I do like what you guys are doing. And I meant to ask you, like, you guys should be getting paid by like freaking Disney or something, dude. Because the only reason I'm watching the Falcon was because I started watching your show. And that's the only, because I wasn't really, like, when they started announcing all that stuff, I was like, am I really going to, like, Sam's got it right now. What, you got 30 days for free on Disney Plus because we're going to be on the show?
That was it. Because I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched any of the things that you guys are talking about. The Mandalorian, WandaVision, nothing. I have seen nothing. I've just been working here. So I was like, oh, shit, I got homework. I was like, I can't be the only one not talking. So I was like, how do I fit it in? That's like, oh, when I'm working out. So, because I usually do a half hour on the Stairmaster, then I go into the gym and I work out. That's how I was doing it. And then if I missed something when I was bench pressing or whatever, I pause it, rewind it, but that was, and then I paid real attention to episode 4 because I knew that's what we were talking about. But yeah, I mean, so kudos to you, because I was talking to George about this in the beginning. You guys were all over the place, and
that's when Jesse was pissed.
Yes, it was like, it was like, and there was no rhythm. And then at what point did it click? At what point did you guys just say, you know what, we need to have structure, we need to have a rhythm in place? What was it?
It was talking. Jesse's like usually one. Like we have a group chat like with all of us. So because she's the one who's at it. Cause like we're just having fun talking, right? But there's someone there that's doing this work that we are clearly not doing. So one of the things about structure we wanted to make sure was like kind of being on board with the types of questions we want to ask, or because it's hard for me personally, it's hard for me to write questions that I want to ask. Because sometimes I just kind of don't know what the question is. I kind of, when we do our interviews, it's really kind of our interviews, because the live shows I've got a couple of YouTubers I watch to kind of give me nuggets that I may have missed, because I just kind of don't see that stuff when you're watching it. And I bring that up in the conversation. But when we have someone coming on, obviously they give us stuff to read or to look at, and I'll read our stuff. I'll read their stuff and I'm sure you guys feel the same way too. These people are coming onto your show. The least you can fucking do is read their stuff.
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't, you don't have to read it all, or you just want to skim through it, but you kind of want to be somewhat familiar with what you're getting yourself into. And then my questions or my thoughts come from there if they come up organically. But yeah, I would say the structure wise was really figuring out what was going to be us talking about whatever, which is now the lives, and then the interviews, which are more of a structured, organic conversation. So there really isn't any sort of dead air. We really have the person do most of the talking, and then pick and choose what we want to ask them based off what we get. So there is sometimes we may have some things we write down or that CVAS writes down, but we don't get to it. And that's okay. Because we don't want to be like, all right, cool, cool, great, Gary Cohen. But I really got this question that's out of the blue and does not fit organic. Like, obviously, you do that when it kind of falls short, and you want to bring back the conversation. But if you're just having a free flowing conversation and they're just kind of riffing and you're going back and forth, that's the best. That's the best conversation, hands down. But yeah, Sam, we were all over the fucking place.
Yeah, no. I remember in the beginning, I was like, and then the great thing about your live shows and you guys talking about the movies and the projects is that's definitely up your alley. You guys are really versed in the subject, and it comes off. And I think that's your signature. That's where you guys add that little swish at the end, because I think, the interview is just, it seems like an add-on, but I think what you guys are going to build your brand on is what you do with those live shows when you're talking about your favorite movies in the universe and all that stuff, because that's where your DNA shines through.
Yeah, I like doing an interview because it lets me meet a bunch of different creators or read a bunch of different IPs that I just wouldn't get myself around to. But what's really great is like after you have that interview, because I think we've had you guys on. It's always you're talking about your favorite subject, which is yourself. So it's you just talking, us asking questions. But what's really great is after we have that conversation and we build that connection, then have you on in our live show, and now we just kind of. There's no worry about anything super scripted or things about you. We're just all nerds together talking.
Right.
And one thing I think we pride ourselves on and do really well is it doesn't matter how into the content you are. The whole point is you're watching it. Like, as long as you watch it,
that's right.
You can contribute and you can have a conversation. We're not, sure, we're super well versed. Seabass is well versed in a lot of the comic book stuff. And there's some things that I'm really well versed in and Law is really well versed in, but we always want to make, we don't ever want to gatekeep or make people feel like their opinion doesn't matter or anything. Like, we've had people on the show and they'll say some wild ass shit and like, it's cool. You
stop talking about Jonathan.
And, like, I'm never going to call you out on your wild. I'll be like, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm here for it. I mean, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you're right, shit, you're right. But the whole point is just to have people have fun and talking about something that they're just getting into or they've been into for so long. And we're all just here together. Cause what's the point of getting into this nerd culture if you can't share it with others? Yeah. Like, it's a collective experience. Watching Endgame in theater is one of the best movie theater experiences I've ever had. Just hands down. Just the reactions you have with the crowd. I don't remember any other movie theater experience that can top that. And shit, after this pandemic, will ever happen again?
I know. Right? Yeah, right. So. Exactly, dude. I'm a big fan. Whenever I watch shows of, like, even with us, what we're doing, I love, like, little nuggets of, just, how do I say this? You have a phrase when you start the show, which I wanted to hear it yesterday because I hadn't been on your show for a while, right? And you guys, like, to me, you should coin that and maybe do T-shirts, like, just Tony Stark has died. I don't know if you get sued for that, but
I would definitely get sued for that. Yes, I would definitely get sued for that. It
is so good for the show. How did that just come organically, or do you guys have, like, a conversation? Okay, guys, this is what we're gonna do. We need something here. Let's throw that in, or was that something that just came organically? And for those who don't know, just tell us what that is, because I didn't want to just spoil.
All right. So usually, whenever we talk spoilers, I say the episode name, and then we, some bullshit I say off the cuff, and I end with Tony Stark has died. Or if it's like a really powerful thing from the actual episode, I'll say it like I think with Mandalorian,
or Agatha. I think it was Agatha.
Or Agatha, or Mandalorian with the Mark Hamill shit, or, like, I will say it, like, straight up, because, like, I'm not. It's a spoiler show. You're here for the spoilers.
If you watch it, you're done.
Like, that's it. So what happened was the reason why this came up, and it was when we were doing our Endgame review.
Okay.
And I did the spoiler warning, and they were like, "Tone, do the spoiler warning." I'm like, "All right." I was like, "Yeah, we are doing a spoiler episode of Endgame. There is no nonsense, no bullshit. We're spoiling this. You want to know how bad we're spoiling this? Tony Stark died." And I started the episode like that, and it was just, and it's just kind of stuck from there.
Stuck. It was great. It's
classic. It was like in our early podcast. Like, I don't think we recorded it. It was like a podcast or something. But Law and Seabass just loved it, and so it's been the thing where if we do spoilers, that's kind of what I say.
Yeah, it's funny because when you guys said it yesterday, I didn't know the whole gimmick to this, and I was like, did I miss that somewhere? I'm sitting there and I have my poker face on. I'm like, was I bench pressing at that time?
I thought he died like 2 years
yes,
ago.
This is old
news.
No, it's just something great, dude. Like, I really love that. And again, it's one of those things where if you're a fan of the show, you know what that is, right? It's like it's that little like, you maybe call it a gimmick, but it's that thing that your fans would understand what you're talking about when you say that. And that's why I commend you guys for doing stuff like that, because it's fun, and it is a fun show to watch. I think you guys are getting a lot of interaction now, even and serious interaction. Like, some of these guys are really thinking about, what's going on in these shows. How has that been for you guys? The response you're getting?
It's crazy, right? Like you're just talking. You're talking in the Nexus. Like, you're live. Obviously, you're live, so anyone can tune in and say some wild shit. And we're not at a point where you've got trolls. Like, fortunately, we don't have trolls. Right. Unfortunately, we don't have trolls, because if you have trolls, that means a shit ton of people are watching your stuff, right? So it's a double-edged sword. So we don't have any trolls, but I would say our first one that really stuck out. We had this lady who comments every once in a while. Her name is Aurelis, and she started commenting in the Mandalorian ones. And after we went off air, and I was like, yo, who knows Arella's? And then Law and Steve was like, we don't know who she is. I'm like, we got a random person commenting on our shit? Yo.
You did it. That was it.
So every once in a while we do. And then, you know, what's really cool is too, what's really great and like a big great that we like to do is when we bring other people in from different reaches to do the live shows. They hype it up on their end, we do our own promotion on their end, and then usually you'll see someone who's watching their stuff will come and comment on our show. And that happened and then every once in a while that person who came from their show and commented will then show up again on a random show when that person's not there, and they kind of just stick, which I thought was which I think is pretty cool. So it's cool to see people comment and interact with us and say hey, or give their pieces, and because that's, I mean, again, it's, yeah, sure, we're talking at the screen and we're talking amongst each other, but we're also talking to whoever's watching, and we want everyone to be involved in the conversation, whether you're, you know, whether you have a controversial opinion or not. As long as we keep it civil and no one gets wild, then, you know, we're here for it, you know, because again, it's a shared experience. This whole Disney Plus TV shows things are definitely a shared experience, and some of these HBO Max movies are shared experiences that we just want to, who doesn't want to just spend your time talking about this and ignoring some of the stuff that's been going on?
Yeah, no, that's awesome, bro. Are you guys going to be reviewing anything outside of like the Marvel universe, or are you guys just Marvel heads and that's what you want to talk about?
No, it just happens to be that the shows are releasing weekly, so that kind of ends up being the thing. I think when we did episode 1 or episode 2, it's probably episode 2, I think, of of Winter Soldier and Falcon. That's also when Invincible came out on Amazon. So we talked about the first 3 episodes, or episode 1, because it dropped 3 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about that briefly because it was just kind of came out and everyone was watching and talking about it. So, but really just happens to be a happenstance that we are basically just doing the Disney Plus shows because those are coming off on a weekly basis. Obviously, when stuff comes out, so I think we're going to be doing Mortal Kombat when that comes out on HBO, because that just got pushed to the 23rd. So we have some. I think we're doing like a double. Well, we would have done, because it's happening in the future.
Nice.
We would have done.
You're good.
We would have done a double whammy episode where we talked about Mortal Kombat, and I think
you know what's wrong? Neither Sam nor I even tried to stop you. We were just gonna let you fall into that hole. No,
it's fine. It's fine. I saw it. I was like, nope. Not today.
What had happened was
so like it kind of just falls into happenstance that these Disney Plus shows are releasing at a week to week cadence. I mean, it's great for us. It gives us consistent content to talk. But it, you know, if there isn't a Disney Plus show, which happens, so between Mandalorian and Wanda, and between Wanda and Cap and Falcon, we did like some live shows with creators. I think we did a live show with Comic Book School with their comic book anthology that was back in December. We did another live show with Global Comics. I think you guys were on there. He showed up late, but that's fine. We still had a really good conversation, and we just started talking. And I think that's when George, you got the idea to having us on individually to talk and catch the craze. So like we'll have stuff to talk about. I mean, shit, we'll talk about anime that we watch, or I'm waiting for us to talk about Invincible, because I'm watching the Amazon show, but I read the fucking comic in about a week and a half.
Now let me ask you something, Tone. Because me personally, I was a huge fan of the comic because I read it when it came out. Actually, Sam, you put me onto this thing, and I loved it. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't feel the same about the show, to be honest with you. Like I like the comic that much better. How do you feel about the show versus the comic? Are you enjoying both the same way, or do you like one better than the other?
I mean, I like the comic better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, I got the whole story. So like in like a fucking week and a half, I went through 140 something issues of Invincible and read through it, and I was loving every minute of it.
So good.
It's so good, and it's so gory and bloody, and like I'm just here for it. But the show, I'm liking the show, but I'm waiting for that switch in the show to happen. Like that's what I'm waiting for, because the comic happens, and obviously the first 3 episodes are out. The comic happens, like the first 3 volumes of the trades happen, and that's by the end of, I think, volume 3, I think, is when Omni-Man does his stuff to the Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah.
So I was reading it, I didn't even watch episode 1. I started reading it first because it was on Comixology Unlimited, and I have it. So I figured, oh, cool, I'll start reading it. Yeah. And I was like, where is the violence in this comic? It's just about a kid who has superpowers, and his dad's a fucking Superman. Yeah. He's got issues in high school. Right. And then all of a sudden, Omni-Man comes and mollywops the JLA of this universe, and I was like, there it is. There's what all this blood is about. And then after that, it just skyrockets. Yes. It just exponentially skyrockets to the violence and the plot, and it's just so. I think after season 1, when the conflict happens and the reveals happen, because they're doing it differently in the show, which is fine. They're making it more modern for modern audiences, and which is fine. I'm fine with that. I think that's when it will ramp up. So I think season 2 and on, when the show really hits its stride, I think it'll be on par with what we're expecting from the comic. Because I loved it. I was one of those. I finished reading it and I was like I read The Boys. I read all The Boys, and then
the Boys comic wasn't as good, right? Like I felt like the show was actually better than the comic itself. I felt like.
I think the show, I would say some of the characters are better. I like the comic. The comic is just very excessive with the gore, not the gore, because gore doesn't bother me, but like the excessive with the nudity and everything, and like whatever, you read it and you showcase. I was like showing the guys, and they're like, this is wild. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty wild. It's kind of nuts. Like that this was like printed and sold in a comic book store. Right. But I'm digging the show, and I like the show. I like what they're doing with the show. I like the liberties they're taking. Like, it's not even 1 for 1. It's just kind of like main plot points are there guiding us through. But that's.
Yeah, I just felt they sped it up, and they didn't give anybody who's new to the whole universe an opportunity to build a relationship with the characters to determine whether or not you like a character. I'm talking about Invincible. Oh, Invincible. I felt like you're introduced to something new, and you just thrown in, and everything just starts happening, and so you don't know if you like the character. You're not building the relationship. It's like trying to build that investment. It's just a shock factor.
I think it was shock value. Let's show them kill everybody in the first episode, so they come back for the second one.
Yeah. I thought, and I honestly, I knew they were going to do the 3-episode drop, right? Yeah. So in The Boys season 2, they did the same thing, 3-episode drop. Episode 3 ends. That's when you find out that Stormfront's super racist, or like you get the inkling that she's racist because she just kills all the black folks in the projects, and she says that same thing, but to the Asian, she says, you Asian bastard to the guy, right? As she's choking him out. So you're like, oh, there's something off with this chick. She's not just a regular soup just killing people to kill people. She's deliberately killing people of different races and creeds, right? So I thought Invincible was going to do the same thing. We're going to get episodes 1, episodes 2 with everything going on, and then episode 3 is going to end with Omni-Man offing the Guardians of the Globe. Because then you've got the next episode, you've got your 3-episode fix. Is usually people are like 3-episode litmus test. Watch your 3 episodes, and you decide you're going to stick to it or you're going to jump off. But they didn't do that, and I'm watching it, and they're doing the scenes where they're going to each of the members of the Globe. And I'm like, they're gonna do this now? he's gonna off them all because they do it so it's exactly 1 for 1 for the comic. Each page changes, and you're reading a little bit about each of them just to kind of make you feel some way about them, and then they just get off. And I was like, I loved it. I'm not gonna say I didn't like it, right? Because I knew it was coming.
Right. But the animation also is great, dude.
Yeah, the animation. What they're
doing with the animation
was like nuts.
It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But to your point, Sam, for people who are just watching this for the first time, I wanted to get a sense of like kind of understanding Omni-Man and thinking he's a Superman Superman, and you just think he's a dick of a dad, right? And he's very distant, and then he kills all these guys, and now it feels like the plot is now the mystery of who did it. Right. Because the viewer knows who did it, but no one else does, and so just they're trying to do that. So I guess that's the way they're going. But I would have preferred them building the relationship between him and Mark.
Me too.
And then episode 3 ending with him.
Just like the book. Like I think the book was your blueprint. Stick to that, and I think you would have had either way. It would have been, you know what I mean, like a great series.
Yeah.
But going back to you now, before we go here, because it's like a half-hour interview. But
yep.
So what are your plans? What is Tone doing? What is Tone from Across the Hall? What are your plans? Your creative plans or any other plan? What are you doing for as far as in your career here as far as the podcasting?
So I just sticking to the podcast, kind of keeping that communication going and having fun and talking to folks and meeting new people, reading new things. That's been the main gist of it. For me personally, hopefully we eventually get our website up. Will the website be up when this is airing? I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know. I know that's
what's the tentative name of the website? Do you have a tentative name of
it'll probably be something of Nerds of the Round or some nerds or notr.com or something
like that. All right, look out for that. Look out for that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Look out for it. Sure. It'll be like, yeah, we're coming soon. You got the little thing with the fucking sign saying we'll be here soon.
Under construction.
Yeah, that one under construction. That shit. So, but most of my energy goes into the podcast, and then I do a lot of the D&D stuff with the squad because we play, pretty much every week at this point, and we've got a podcast of our D&D session releasing every Saturday, which has been a lot of fun. Playing a bunch of different characters and just kind of playing this tabletop game that's been around since forever. And then just for me professionally, like just kind of moving on up because like my professional life isn't a thing I talk about on air because it's not related to what I do. But I look at this as a thing that I do. It's a thing that I love doing and that thing that I get to share with my friends. But then also I've got like my stuff I got to do to put bread on the table, right? Take care of the fam and just kind of working my way up. But that's it. Just focusing on the podcast and helping out and beyond when I can and doing D&D and just kind of doing these shows. It's nice to be on the opposite end of just answering questions and talking.
When I saw you guys talking to, when I saw that episode, I was like, yo, dude, we got to have them, it's cool to have all three of you on there, but you know what? There's just so much we can talk about when all six of us or all five of us are on the screen. So it's nice to just have a one-on-one with each one, because I know each one of you are doing your own little thing, not separate from whatever, but you're also doing your stuff. So I'm glad that we were able to show
each of you are, you're an individual in a collective, and you all have your own story, and it's always a good thing to be able to share your story, uninterrupted, so that way people get to know each one of you.
Yeah, dude, I didn't even know Law swam. Like, he's a swimmer. I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, these are things that you were never gonna be able to get, in this, when there's five people on the screen trying to talk. And have a conversation. I also, congratulations on the move. I know you guys moved out of from across the hall to across the street or
across the neighborhood, pretty much. But yeah.
So you guys did that. So that's awesome. You've lost 30 pounds, which is awesome, bro. I heard that yesterday. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have Thanos' glove behind you. That's pretty dope.
I do. Dope. Yeah, and it's signed by Jim Starlin.
Nice.
What?
Nice.
Yeah. I went to. I don't remember. I think it's East Coast Comic Con or some shit in the Meadowlands. The Comic Con in the Meadowlands.
East Coast Comic Con.
Yeah, I went with Seabass. It was table buddy. And I found that Jim Starlin was going to be there. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go that day, and I need to get him to sign my glove. So nice. I've got a picture with him. Like, me and Seabass have a picture with him together. But the picture works really well that I can crop Seabass out, and it's a solid picture of me. Like as if he was never there.
Put the little sparks in there, like it was the blip.
Yeah, it's great.
It'd be great.
It's great because he's like I'm on one side, Jim's in the middle, and Seabass on the other side. So you can just really just crop him right out, and it doesn't feel like there was any sort of thing happening to the picture. It's great. I told him, I was like, dude, I could take you out of this picture, and no one will know you were there. He's like, fuck you.
Oh, you guys are great.
That's
dude.
awesome.
Yeah.
Listen, when things open up and we're able to get together, we definitely have to get together with you guys and do some stuff, man. This will be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to see you guys in person, man.
Dude.
Feel like I know you guys, but I never met you guys, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Crazy, dude. It's crazy. Yes. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have any, your social handles where they can find you, where they can follow you, and do all that fun stuff?
If you follow on Instagram at Tone from Across the Hall, you will find nothing. There isn't much updated. I really tried for a good while to post HelloFresh meals that I cooked for me and my wife, and it got so fucking tiring. I was like, this is for the fucking birds. I'm not doing this. So all of the social media handles that I would say are the Nerds of the Round Instagram. That is pretty much the only one that I actually care about, where we post upcoming talks or images about the shows and things like that. We have a Twitter, but we haven't really been active on that. We feel like Instagram has been kind of the main to do, and that's kind of been growing at like a slightly steady pace. But YouTube, find us on YouTube, Nerds Around. Find us wherever you get your Spotify, wherever you get your playlists. Nerds of the Round, not playlists, Jesus, podcasts. Nerds of the Round.
Right.
But if you want to see us live, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and I think Twitch is what Seabass has it said.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday at 9:00, and that is a consistent every Tuesday, unless barring anything happening, we will be on Tuesdays.
Nah, that's awesome, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tom, for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Hanging out, chatting.
Yes.
We'll have to do it again and again when we can go out there. We'll do it live.
Yes.
Yep. Cool.
All right, my brother.
Talk to you soon,
man.
Talk to you guys later.
Later, bud.
Do you have a Kickstarter campaign and you're trying to figure out how to get the word out? You look online and you see the competition is fierce. Comic-Cons are slowly coming back, but in the meantime, how do you spread the word? You worked for hours creating your campaign. You post on as many social media sites as possible, trying to get the word out to no avail. Well, look no further. Why not sponsor an episode of Catch the Craze podcast, the fastest growing indie podcast in the market today? That 30-second promo can get you an extra 2 to 3 backers or more. Who knows? Let's go. Hit the link below and get one step closer to a successful campaign.
Tom from across the hall.
That was awesome, man.
Yes, really good guy. It's good to know each and every one of them individually. I wonder why nobody wants to go to PalCon. None of them. It's in May, but I think everyone's still nervous about the hanging out. But so check out Nerds of the Round. Really good show. If you're definitely a fan of the Marvel Universe, check them out. These guys are really knowledgeable about that entire universe and all the characters. I learned a lot when we were on the show. They were talking about stuff like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Nah, they go in, man. They go in.
Yeah.
They really know what they're talking about, and they do it well. They do it well. But let's plug somebody now, Chad, before we leave.
Yes, get your fingers out of here.
You've been plugged.
Mark Torres, you've been plugged.
Mark Torres, man. Mark Torres has been around since we started. I mean, I think he might have been around even before that. And the show it came from the radio.
Yes.
We were on there many, many, many years ago.
Many moons.
And he's always been a great promoter of the indie circuit. He's always had a mic in his hand, a camcorder on his side, and he's been walking around conventions way back in the day since before it was cool.
He's
to
legit.
do any of it.
He's a legit OG.
He's legit. Definitely. So definitely catch his show. His show comes on. Check it out on iHeartRadio, which is where I checked it out. Every Monday he's got a new episode, and very, very well done, very well produced. So congratulations to Mark for his show. It came from the radio, and Mark, you've been plugged.
You've been plugged, homie. Yes. So that was another great episode of Catch the Craze. Again, if you want to be on the show, all you have to do is hit us up. With that said,
right.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that sub button, right? Because we need this audience in order for us to grow. And don't forget to give us that thumbs up, right? Because, those algorithms, they're watching for those thumbs up. They want to know that you're not just there subscribing, but you're engaging with us. And we want you to engage with us. With that said,
right.
Next week we have the launch of Forbidden on Kickstarter. So don't forget to back Kickstarter. Sign up today and be the first ones to take advantage of that first day backing bundle.
There you go.
I am Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
And I'm her.
George the Dreamer Medina.
And we is out.
It's just it's not.
Crazy.
Acquiesce. No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him. Say my name, right? This is what you were thinking? Oh, he described me. He said, I'm the...
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. On Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
girl.